start it off. We'll go with the Denver Nuggets first. So we'll go with the Denver Nuggets first.
So Denver's an interesting one because although, yeah, Denver have been struggling, it's not like been that crazy. Like it's not like that they're in a like a really, really rough patch. Yeah, they're what, two and four? Which like if they started off 2-4, you're thinking, okay, that's not great, but they've had, a couple of wins, but I don't know. You tell me, what is their woes? Because I don't really see. I just think it's just time. They just don't have time to get into form right. That's what I think it is. Is there really
I
something wrong with the Denver Nuggets?
no, again, it is really early to say, like, to overreact, but you can nitpick though, right? Now, I believe that this entire team is built around Jokic. We know
Okay.
that, right? Jokic has, I believe, currently the highest usage rate in the league. Like, that's how much they run through him. So Jokic is certified. Like, we know exactly what we're getting from Jokic. Now, after what happened in the bubble, I half expected that Jamal Murray was also going to be a known quantity. Like, we knew what Jamal Murray was going to be. He was going to take that bubble experience and then carry it forward in his career. And that
Yeah.
didn't happen. And that's a big problem. Before we even talk about some of the other issues, some of the other issues that are going on in the team, the Denver Nuggets cannot afford, they cannot have Jamal Murray to be a question mark. They cannot afford for Jamal Murray to be like, for people to say, like, if we get the good Jamal Murray or if we get the bad Jamal Murray, like, you can't have that question. If Jamal Murray is genuinely the superstar that, one, he claims to be, and two, that he showed us that he could be. So I think the first
But
strike is that Jamal Murray can't be that guy.
here's the thing. Yeah. Oh, don't say that. Jamal
No,
Murray can
no,
be
no, no,
that.
no, 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 no. I said he can't be this guy that he is right now, which is what he was last season during the regular season. He can't be this guy anymore
Oh yeah.
after we've seen what he could do in the bubble.
You're right. He needs to be more of his self that we saw in the bubble. That's evident. We need to see more of that. I think right now, with a lot of NBA teams, players are coasting.
Yeah,
So they'll let a game slide. Okay, I didn't perform that well. That can get swept under the rug. We'll go on to the next game. I think the fact that Jokic is using, like, it has such a high usage percentage as far as like holding the ball for the team, it allows him to be a bit more relaxed and maybe not have to be a force every time he hits the court, which I get it. I mean, like, they were what, Western Conference Finals a couple of months ago, and now they're back to playing regular season games pretty quick. So the fact that again, it's not just him. There's a few NBA stars that are deciding, you know what, yeah, let's give it a minute, let's just chill, let's just catch our bearings, let's see what we can do. I think if there is a trouble within the team, I think it's their, like, you're right. I think, remember ages ago you said they lost a bit of depth,
they lost a lot of depth.
especially losing Grant, who we'll talk about in a sec. Like, it puts a lot more pressure on the guys that are there now, like the actual stars. So you're right. He needs to step up more. He needs to step up more because, like, the guy that he'll get compared to, that's taken on a much more, like, bigger load as far as offense
Yeah,
goes, is a guy like Donovan Mitchell.
exactly,
And
exactly.
and we expect him. Yo, this guy is aiming to be an, like, already we know Donovan Mitchell's an all-star type player.
Yeah,
We already know that. Jamal Murray needs to show that he's like an all-star type player.
exactly. And that's the
That's what he
problem.
needs to do.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is that he's not showing it. And I get what you're saying, which is he's still trying to find his feet. But yo, when Jokic is performing at an MVP level, he has to match him. He has to. He can't afford to say, I'm going to take it easy when the star player is playing out of his mind. Like, he's playing on such an MVP level right now. And I honestly, honest to God, believe that he can maintain this until the end of the year. When your number one guy is putting that on the table, then you better bring something to the table. Because if you can't bring it to the table, bro, it is not good enough. He
Bro,
needs to be better. These performances have to come naturally now for Jamal Murray. He shouldn't have to try insane amounts to get to that level. It's like you said, Donovan Mitchell knows when to pick his time. He knows when to be aggressive and when to facilitate. And that's what he needs. I'm not saying that he needs to be 50-point Jamal Murray, but what he does need to be, he needs to be aggressive Murray. Murray that takes pressure off of the rest of the guys so that they get easier looks. If Jamal Murray is coasting, this team is not good. They're not. Jokic on his own and that bench, which we're going to talk about in a second, cannot carry the load. And that's why you're right again, Sosa. You're right when you say he looks like he's coasting, but it should be natural to him. Like if LeBron James is coasting, his coasting is, and maybe LeBron James is not the best person to name, but his coasting is 25 points a game. Kyrie Irving's coasting is 25 points a game. Trae Young's coasted is still 25 points per game, and it's still dominant enough to get a result. That's what he needs to be. And
let me ask you something. If Jokic, because I honestly, and maybe I'm just I'm reaching too far. So let me know if I'm reaching. I think with the fact that Jokic is putting up massive usage numbers in regards to like holding the ball and actually creating plays for the team, it's causing him to be more passive.
Correct.
And I think that there needs to be more sharing involved, especially because when you look at that Denver Nuggets team, you're expecting Jamal Murray, the point guard, when in reality, we're seeing Jamal Murray, the shooting guard, Jokic, the point guard. Okay. That's what we're seeing right now. I think if he was given more opportunity, and I'm not saying that he doesn't get it, I'm just saying he just needs more of it. If he was given more of the ball and not just told, just work off screens, just try and stay open, and Jokic will find you. I'm talking about him getting more involved in setting up plays. He'll definitely see something. But right now, with Jokic having this, the responsibility lies with the coach in trying to organize the team and try and get the best out of the players. If he's just allowing Jokic to just dominate the ball, what's he supposed to do?
I get what you're saying, sir. I get what you're saying. This is my concern, is that it's not like Murray is stood on the side. He's had games where he was really aggressive and he actually has the ball in his hands quite often. It's just that their offense works better when Jokic has the ball in his hand. And it's not that Jokic is dribbling and all of that. No, Jokic gets it and he gives it up very quickly. And he might get it back, but he's the best initiator of the offense, and that is what worked, and that is what got them to the Western Conference Finals. You saw how much Jokic had the ball in his hand, but that didn't stop Jamal Murray from being the absolute gunslinger that he was during the bubble, and that's what it is. But I really want to mention the bench, right? Because you mentioned that they lost depth, and they lost Grant, they lost Malik Beasley, and they also lost Torrey Craig. Now, what do all three of them have in common? And maybe some more Torrey Craig and Jeremy Grant, is that they were your main stoppers for the wings. They're your Kawhi Leonard stoppers. They're your LeBron James stoppers. They're your Giannis stoppers. I'm not saying that they will be able to stop them, but they were the best to guard them. Now you've replaced that with PJ Dozier, who, for whatever reason, when I watched them play, has the ball in his hands so ridiculously much, it's scary. I should not be watching so much PJ Dozier in one game, Sosa. I shouldn't. And their defense is just their bench is a sieve. I was talking to Tarek about this yesterday, and I was listening to this podcast, and it was Zach Lowe and it was Jeff Van Gundy. Now, Jeff Van Gundy is my favorite pundit or favorite commentator.
You've said that many times.
Many times. I absolutely love him, right? And he said that during his coaching of, I think, the under-19s or the under-21 national team, they played against Argentina and Campazzo was their guy. And he was like, he was convinced Campazzo was going to be amazing. And I've watched him, and he is so lackluster, doesn't get involved in the offense. The moment he gets the ball, he passes it back. And it is just, and Isaiah Hartenstein, that bench is such a no-no. So this is my question to you, Sosa, yeah? I know it's early, but we know what we're going to get from Jokic. We know what we're going to get from Murray. We don't know what we're getting from Michael Porter Jr., which we're going to mention in a moment as well. We don't know what we're going to get from a lot of these players, and the bench cannot be at this level. How is it possible? What improvements can you see from what they have in the squad right now? What are your immediate thought process? Like, yeah, do you know what? This could be better and they could improve that if you kept an eye on it by any chance.
I think, well, it's hard to just pinpoint one thing that they need to improve on.
Mhm.
You're right about, it's not just losing their depth, but they're losing their perimeter defense, um, as far as their depth goes. So it's hard to say. Maybe if they looked into, um, I don't even know what's going to happen regarding trade deadline and guys who can get picked up off waivers and things like that. I have no idea. So at this present moment in time, their main ability that they have, their main threat that they have, is their offense, and I think part of that will then rely on their stars. I think the stars just need to just do more.
Yeah,
So
that's actually a really good take because there's a lot of people that said the same thing. But do you want that though? Do you want your stars, especially in this condensed season? Do you really want your stars to be averaging career not minutes?
no, I mean it's never the best option to
No.
choose. But when you're in a position where, okay, you might not have the depth. Otherwise, the next option is to rely on the guys that they have on their bench, like to actually give them a chance and see how far that'll take them. Because the other option is
Example,
they're going to rely on their starters to play heavy, or if they trust their youngsters that they've drafted, trust the guys that they've brought in.
mhm.
Again, a lot of it lands on what Mike Malone will do with his squad now, and what lineups he'll roll out and how long they'll get the ball. I'm not surprised you're seeing PJ Doja getting so many touches. You're probably like back in the bubble, like he had a few games where he didn't do that badly. So it's a case of you've got to give them a chance. If you don't, then what the hell is the point of them being there?
But yeah, but that's the problem though. So you're giving them a chance and they aren't taking the chances that they are given. And
Six
again, you
games
can,
so far.
yeah, I
I
know,
think.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think. I
yeah,
think.
yeah, 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 yeah. But never mind, never mind the offense. But even individually, those players, other than arguably Jermichael Green and maybe even, nah, not even Monte Morris, but other than Jermichael Green, I just can't see that bench improve defensively. Maybe you can put him in more offensive schemes to make it work. Obviously, the coach can make sure that the ball is out of PJ Dozier's hands a lot more. That's a really easy tweak to make. Do you know what I mean? But does that fix their defense? And the answer is I don't think there's a lot that you can do to make that bench better.
No, I mean
Uh,
it is what it is right now.
it
Like
is,
the
it is.
season's already started. It's not like they can sign anyone extra, so they have to make do with what they've got.